What if I told you thousands of people across every continent have reported seeing the exact same aliens? Slender bodies, huge black eyes, cold clinical behavior. These are the Grey Aliens, and whether they're extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, or something worse, one thing is clear, they're not going away. Stick around, this changes everything. The Grey Aliens have become nearly synonymous with the modern UFO phenomenon. Their presence is reported across continents, cultures, and decades, with accounts describing similar features and behaviors regardless of origin. In many ways, the Greys have emerged as an archetype, a symbol of the mysterious, unknown, and often unsettling possibility of extraterrestrial contact. In today's discussion, we will methodically examine these reports, analyze the cultural and psychological factors at play, and consider scientific hypotheses alongside more speculative interpretations. To begin our discussion, let's establish a clear understanding of what is meant by the term Grey Aliens. These beings are typically described as having a slender, delicate build, a small, slightly elongated body, and skin that is uniformly gray in color. They are noted for their disproportionately large, oval black eyes, small mouths, and few or no discernible facial features. Their heads are often described as larger than what would be expected in proportion to their bodies, a trait that has fueled much speculation about their intellectual or evolutionary nature. Reports of the Greys first entered the public consciousness in a significant way in the mid-20th century. Eyewitness accounts and abduction narratives began to emerge with remarkable consistency. Whether encountered in rural farmlands or during urban nights, the descriptions of these beings bore uncanny similarities. The consistency in these descriptions, even among witnesses from widely divergent backgrounds, has been one of the strongest arguments for those who believe that the Greys represent a genuine phenomenon rather than a cultural construct or a mass psychological experience. Let's now consider the historical context. While modern sightings of the Greys date predominantly to the 20th century, many researchers argue that their presence may have been recorded in various forms throughout history. Ancient texts, cave paintings, and mythological accounts from disparate cultures sometimes include descriptions of beings that bear a resemblance to what we now call the Greys. Although these accounts are open to interpretation, they suggest that the idea of mysterious, otherworldly visitors has long been part of the human experience. In more recent times, the archetype of the Greys was popularized by high-profile cases and media portrayals. For instance, the infamous abduction narratives, such as those involving Betty and Barney Hill, helped cement the image of the Greys in the public imagination. These accounts detailed experiences of missing time, examinations by beings with large eyes and slender limbs, and a sense of detachment combined with profound existential dread. The impact of these narratives cannot be overstated. They not only influenced later reports, but also shaped the way society visualizes extraterrestrial life. Now, let's delve into the physical characteristics commonly attributed to the Greys. Their most striking feature is, without doubt, their large black, almond-shaped eyes. Witnesses often report that these eyes convey a sense of deep intelligence, or in some cases, cold detachment. The eyes are sometimes described as being disproportionately large compared to their face, suggesting a visual system that might be vastly different from our own. Some researchers have speculated that such eyes could indicate adaptations for low-light environments, perhaps in space or on a dimly lit planet. In addition to their eyes, the Greys are generally characterized by a thin, fragile-looking body. Their limbs are described as long and spindly, with fingers that may be 3 or 4 in number, sometimes ending in rounded tips. The overall appearance is one that many have likened to a humanoid form, yet markedly different in its proportions. The combination of a large head, small body, and minimalistic facial features has fueled many hypotheses. Some suggest that these characteristics imply an advanced intellect and a form of evolution that has prioritized brain development over physical robustness. It is important to note that the uniformity of these physical descriptions is one of the aspects that has sparked debate. Skeptics argue that the consistency could be the result of a shared cultural template, a sort of cosmic meme, where the image of the gray has been propagated by media, literature, and even early abduction accounts. On the other hand, proponents of the extraterrestrial hypothesis suggest that such uniformity could indicate that multiple witnesses are indeed encountering the same type of being, lending credence to the idea that the Greys are a distinct and real species. Beyond physical appearance, many reports also detail specific behavioral traits associated with the Greys. In numerous abduction cases, witnesses describe interactions that are clinical, almost detached. The Greys are often said to conduct what appear to be medical examinations, using instruments that seem alien in design. These interactions are sometimes accompanied by a sense of telepathic communication, a transfer of information without words, where the witness experiences a flood of impressions, images, or emotions. The clinical, methodical manner in which these beings are reported to interact has led some researchers to compare them to scientists or researchers themselves, observing humanity in a detached, analytical manner. One of the most intriguing aspects of the abduction accounts is the phenomenon of missing time. Many individuals report that during their encounter, hours can pass without any memory of what occurred. This phenomenon is often linked with the presence of the Greys, and it has been suggested that the process of abduction might involve the alteration or manipulation of human perception. The idea that these beings could affect our understanding of time and memory raises fascinating questions about the nature of consciousness and the possibility of advanced technology far beyond our current capabilities. In addition to the clinical nature of their examinations, several accounts emphasize the use of what is described as a stargate, or an energy field that appears to separate the abductees from their normal environment. Some witnesses describe sensations of floating, detachment from their bodies, or being enveloped in a strange, luminescent field. These experiences have been interpreted in multiple ways. Some see them as evidence of advanced technology that manipulates space-time, while others believe they could be manifestations of psychological phenomena such as sleep paralysis or hypnagogic states. Nonetheless, the consistency of these reports across numerous cases remains a subject of intense study. Moving on to the cultural impact of the Grey aliens, it is impossible to ignore how they have shaped modern conceptions of extraterrestrial life. Their image has permeated science fiction, inspiring countless books, films, and television shows. This cultural saturation has, in turn, influenced subsequent abduction reports and UFO sightings, creating a feedback loop between media representations and eyewitness accounts. The symbiosis between popular culture and reported experiences is complex, and it poses a significant challenge to researchers attempting to distinguish between cultural artifacts and objective phenomena. Some theorists argue that the modern image of the Greys is partly a product of collective memory, a shared symbol that evolves over time yet remains recognizable. Others contend that while media may have amplified certain aspects of the narrative, the core elements, physical appearance, behavior, and the nature of interactions are too consistent across independent accounts to be dismissed solely as cultural constructs. This debate touches on larger questions about how human consciousness processes and interprets extraordinary experiences. The psychological perspective is particularly important when discussing the Greys. Many psychologists have proposed that experiences involving alien encounters, including those with the Greys, could be manifestations of the human mind under extreme stress, or even the result of sleep-related phenomena like hypnagogia or sleep paralysis. Under such conditions, the brain can produce vivid, hallucinatory experiences that feel intensely real to the person undergoing them. This explanation does not necessarily invalidate the experiences. Rather, it suggests that the human brain is capable of producing complex and immersive experiences that we might interpret as encounters with otherworldly beings. On the other hand, proponents of the extraterrestrial hypothesis maintain that the sheer number of consistent reports from individuals of diverse backgrounds and cultures points to the possibility that these experiences are not merely psychological anomalies. They argue that while individual accounts may be influenced by cultural factors, the overall pattern is too coherent and detailed to be chalked up solely to the workings of the human mind. In this view, the Greys represent a tangible phenomenon that interacts with human consciousness in ways that challenge our current understanding of both biology and physics. Let us now examine some of the prominent theories that have emerged in an attempt to explain the nature and origin of the Grey aliens. One theory posits that the Greys are, in fact, extraterrestrial visitors from a distant star system. Proponents of this view often point to the advanced technology described in abduction narratives, suggesting that these beings have mastered technologies that allow them to traverse vast distances through space. According to this perspective, the Greys may be conducting research on human biology, genetics, or even sociocultural evolution, acting as interstellar observers or even caretakers of our species. Another theory suggests that the Greys could be interdimensional beings rather than visitors from another planet. This hypothesis argues that what we perceive as aliens might actually be entities from a parallel dimension, beings who coexist with us but are normally hidden from our perception due to the limitations of human senses. In moments of heightened stress or during altered states of consciousness, the barriers between dimensions might become permeable, allowing these entities to interact with us. This explanation accounts for some of the more surreal and seemingly inexplicable aspects of abduction experiences, such as sudden shifts in time or space, and the feeling of being drawn into a realm that is both familiar and utterly alien. There is also a perspective that blends elements of both the extraterrestrial and interdimensional theories. According to this hybrid view, the Greys might be a manifestation of an ancient cosmic intelligence, a species that has evolved beyond our conventional understanding of time, space, and biology. From this standpoint, the Greys could be part of a larger network of entities that have been interacting with Earth throughout its history, influencing its development and, perhaps, even guiding the evolution of life. This idea is often linked with ancient astronaut theories, which propose that many of the great leaps in human civilization were the result of interventions by advanced beings from beyond our planet. It is also important to consider the possibility that the Greys are not a monolithic group at all. Some researchers suggest that the term Grey might actually be a catch-all descriptor for a variety of beings with similar physical characteristics but differing origins and purposes. In other words, the consistency in physical appearance might mask a diversity of underlying natures. This theory posits that what we call the Greys could include multiple subgroups or even entirely different species that share a common evolutionary adaptation to space travel or interdimensional existence. Such a scenario would add yet another layer of complexity to the phenomenon and challenge our conventional categories of life and intelligence. A recurring theme in many abduction accounts is the notion of telepathic communication. Witnesses often report that the Greys seem to communicate directly into their minds, transmitting feelings, images, or fragmented messages without speaking aloud. This method of communication is sometimes described as more efficient or even more truthful than verbal language, bypassing the usual filters of human cognition. Some theorists argue that this could be a deliberate tactic employed to avoid linguistic misunderstandings, or it might simply reflect a mode of communication that is more natural to beings whose sensory apparatus differs significantly from our own. The implications of telepathy as a mode of communication are profound. If the Greys are indeed using nonverbal means to convey information, it raises questions about the nature of consciousness itself. It suggests that intelligence may not be confined solely to the physical or material, but might operate on a level that transcends our conventional understanding of language and thought. Such a possibility has far-reaching implications, not only for ufology, but also for fields as diverse as neuroscience, psychology, and even philosophy. In addition to the specific characteristics of the Greys, the context in which these encounters occur has evolved over time. Modern reports often coincide with periods of significant technological and social change. Some researchers have noted that the frequency and intensity of Grey abduction narratives appear to correlate with periods of rapid scientific advancement, political uncertainty, or social upheaval. This observation has led to the suggestion that the phenomenon may serve as a kind of collective coping mechanism, a way for humanity to externalize and process the anxieties of an ever-changing world. The interplay between modern technology and the reported behavior of the Greys is also noteworthy. With the advent of sophisticated imaging techniques, digital recording, and a global communication network, more people than ever are able to share their experiences. This has resulted in a proliferation of testimonies and a richer database of encounters, which in turn has enabled researchers to identify patterns and commonalities that might have been overlooked in earlier decades. Whether these modern encounters are entirely new phenomena or simply a reinterpretation of age-old experiences remains an open question, one that continues to fuel both scientific inquiry and speculative debate. It is clear that the subject of the Greys straddles multiple domains, from biology and psychology to physics and cultural studies. The challenge for researchers is to integrate these disparate perspectives into a coherent framework. While definitive answers remain elusive, the vast array of accounts provides a fertile ground for interdisciplinary study. In our next section, we will examine some of the most compelling case studies and personal testimonies that have shaped our current understanding of the Grey phenomenon. These individual stories, while sometimes controversial, offer invaluable insights into what might be a genuine, if mysterious, aspect of our reality. One such case is the account of a well-known case or anonymized testimony. In this instance, the witness described an encounter that was both vivid and disturbing, detailing an abduction experience that involved a series of seemingly clinical procedures. The witness reported sensations of being paralyzed, of a presence looming over them, and of an overwhelming feeling that they were being observed by entities whose intentions were inscrutable. The consistency of such reports, especially when compared with similar accounts from disparate sources, underscores the enduring enigma of the Grey aliens. Let us now turn our attention to the broader implications of these encounters. What does it mean for us, as a species, if we are indeed encountering beings from beyond our planet, or from another dimension altogether? For some, the very possibility challenges deeply held assumptions about our place in the universe. It raises existential questions about the nature of life, the limits of human perception, and the ultimate destiny of our species. The Greys, as a symbol, force us to confront our own vulnerabilities and our insatiable curiosity about the unknown. For many researchers and enthusiasts, the study of the Greys is not merely an academic exercise, but a quest for understanding that touches upon the very essence of what it means to be human. The mystery of these beings invites us to explore questions of evolution, consciousness, and the nature of reality itself. It challenges us to think beyond the confines of our everyday experiences and to consider possibilities that lie on the fringes of conventional science. Conclusion: the Grey aliens, a persistent enigma at the crossroads of science, culture, and consciousness. The Grey aliens have cemented their place as the dominant archetype of extraterrestrial life in the modern era. Their hauntingly consistent descriptions, slender, gray-skinned bodies, oversized heads, and inscrutable black eyes, transcend cultural and geographical boundaries, appearing in abduction accounts, UFO sightings, and even ancient myths with eerie uniformity. Whether interpreted as literal interstellar visitors, psychological manifestations, or interdimensional entities, the Greys challenge our understanding of reality, pushing the boundaries of science, spirituality, and human perception. The Grey phenomenon, a convergence of evidence and myth. The sheer volume of reports detailing encounters with Greys suggests a phenomenon that cannot be easily dismissed. From the Betty and Barney Hill case to contemporary abduction narratives, witnesses describe strikingly similar beings engaging in clinical, almost scientific interactions, often involving medical examinations, telepathic communication, and the infamous missing time phenomenon. Skeptics argue that these accounts stem from cultural conditioning, sleep paralysis, or mass hysteria, yet the persistence of these stories across decades and continents raises compelling questions. Why do so many unrelated individuals describe the same entities? If the Greys are purely a psychological construct, why does their imagery appear in ancient art and texts long before the modern UFO era? Extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or something else? Several theories attempt to explain the nature of the Greys. Extraterrestrial hypothesis. The most straightforward explanation posits that the Greys are biological beings from another planet, possibly a species that has evolved advanced technology to traverse interstellar distances. Their reported interest in human genetics and reproduction, as seen in hybrid programs described by abductees, suggests a long-term agenda, whether scientific, altruistic, or exploitative. Interdimensional beings. Some researchers propose that the Greys exist outside our conventional space-time, accessing our reality through dimensional rifts or advanced physics. This could explain their ability to manipulate time, induce paralysis, and appear or disappear abruptly. Ultra-terrestrial or crypto-terrestrial theory. A more radical idea suggests that the Greys may not be aliens in the traditional sense, but an ancient Earth-based intelligence, either a hidden civilization or a non-human species that predates humanity. Psychological and neurological explanations, sleep paralysis, hypnagogic hallucinations, and temporal lobe epilepsy can produce vivid, terrifying encounters with humanoid figures. The brain's tendency to impose familiar patterns on the unknown may explain why so many people see the same Grey form. Cultural feedback loop. Once the Grey archetype entered pop culture through films, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, The X-Files, and books, it may have shaped later abduction reports, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. The Grey aliens in human consciousness. One of the most perplexing aspects of Grey encounters is their reported telepathic abilities. If these beings can communicate directly into human minds, bypassing language, it implies a level of consciousness we do not yet understand. Some abductees describe receiving complex information, visions of ecological collapse, warnings about humanity's future, or even spiritual revelations. This raises profound questions. Are the Greys attempting to guide or manipulate us? Is their presence tied to human evolution, as some ancient astronaut theorists suggest? Could they be manifestations of a collective human fear or fascination with the unknown? The broader implications. If the Greys are real in any tangible sense, their existence forces us to reconsider human uniqueness. Are we alone, or are we one of many intelligent species in a vast, interconnected cosmos or multiverse? Technology and perception. If they possess the ability to manipulate time, space, and memory, what does that say about the limits of human science? The nature of reality. Are UFOs and alien encounters glimpses of a deeper, more complex universe that operates outside our current physical laws? Final thoughts, a mystery that endures. The Grey aliens remain one of the most compelling and unsettling mysteries of our time. Whether they are extraterrestrial scientists, interdimensional travelers, psychological constructs, or something beyond our current comprehension, their presence in human consciousness is undeniable. They serve as a mirror reflecting our deepest fears, curiosities, and existential questions. As science advances, with developments in neuroscience, quantum physics, and exobiology, we may one day uncover the truth behind the Greys. Until then, they linger at the edges of our understanding, a silent, staring enigma that refuses to be ignored. What do you think? Are the Greys real beings, a psychological phenomenon, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts. The mystery continues. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. I love hearing from you. Check out more videos on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.